Build day 29 has begun, and good morning all. Kaylee and I greet you. We're just getting out here. I'm kind of rum-dummy. I slept in. I didn't get up till after 9, and I didn't make it to bed until 11:30. So I got 9.5 hours sleep, and I still feel exhausted. Today's order of business. We've got to get in here and get this finished. Thank you, Kaylee. Went to take a step and she blocked me. You don't want me working in the hunt, do you? Huh. She's trying to get my attention. She wants to play. I've got some lights down there and down there on the fence that I need to run a power wire to, and it's going to come off that wire that's hanging down the wall over here. I'll connect to that and run down to the ground and down the fence to hook those up. I've also got that skull plaque and that skull plaque to hook up. Both of those jobs should be fairly quick. Then I've got to get the brain box in, which should be a quick one. I mean, it's fairly simple. I've got that to hook up, the lamp to hook up, and the stove to hook up. That's it. It should just be plug and play. Oh, and the speaker. That should be all there is in here to do. And then I can put the hay in. Once we get this done, though, we get over here and into the graveyard finally. And there's a lot to do in here. The majority of it is AC. I've got, that's AC, the Will's Crypt. And then each of the tombstones is AC. The flame pots are AC. I got light in there. That light. And that light AC. Which all needs to get wired. After that, it's basically the only low voltage thing I've got in here this year that's a prop is the well from hell. But anyway, I'll just run a low voltage line over here and get them plugged in. Then it's basically just all lighting. I do have a control box for this display. It's basically for running that crypt and the fogger up there. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use it or not. I got a speaker in here for it, and it's nice having some ambient sound in here. I could just plug it in for the sound, and just use it like a giant MP3 player. I don't know if I want to tie the fogger into it or not. It's kind of nice. I bought some of those little timers that you plug into foggers. What was it, year before last? We've been using them out here, and it's kind of nice to set it for when you want it to go off, and and then just let it run. I hate to have it triggering, just because someone walks by. I'd rather have it keep a constant level of fog in here. I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to think about once I get over here. And that crypt, it can be a bear. Sometimes you can plug it right in, she'll work. Other times you have to open it up and fuck with it. It doesn't always want to work. But it is nice to have something moving in that display other than the well from hell. And last year we didn't even use the well from hell. But anyway, that's on the docket today. We've got to get the gypsy done and then get over into the graveyard and get the graveyard done. I am thinking I should be able to get both gypsy and graveyard done today. And then if we're real lucky, depending on what time it is, get a start on the photo hallway. That's going to be the fun. I don't know if I'll be able to I'll get into the photo hallway today or not. But we'll give it a try. Was looking at the calendar, and we have to have everything done and ready to go by 6:30 p.m. on the 24th. We technically don't open until the 25th, but the 24th is our VIP, aka stress test night. I invited some people. It's by invitation only. They're the only ones allowed to come in. We don't allow any public through during that night. And it gives us a stress test a whole hunt. you know, as I get done wiring these displays, you know, I turn them on, make sure everything's running, what have you. As of yet, none of them have been on altogether. You know, we've been doing it pretty much display by display by display. And when we wire up these haunts, you know, and I get in, you know, I'll program like the board and stuff in here. Okay, you know, that looks good. You know, everything's running just like I want it to. And then you turn on the whole haunt and it's like, no, this is kind of stepping on that. The volume over there needs to come down. That fogger's not running as long as it should, or it's running too long, you know, because it's interfering with something else. You know, and the VIP night allows us to get things dialed in. And VIP night usually I have normally only one or two little things. Like last year it was the fogger in the water room. That was a problem. I ended up having to dial that down, and the fogger out in the photo op wasn't turned on long enough. You know, so I just had to go and dial those down. Everything else worked as intended. You know, I've never had it where there was something in each display that needed to be worked on. Thank God. God, that'd be a nightmare with opening the next day. But anyway, we got that. Oh, and if I'm wrong, please forgive me, but I believe it was Joe Apple on YouTube asked a question. I responded to it on the yesterday's vlog. But we'll do a short version of Troy's COC. As soon as I get my cigar lit, that is. There. Now that's better. He asked a question, and I believe it was Joe Apple. Had I ever thought of keeping track of my hours out here in the haunt, you know, and then adding it up at the end of the year and say, hey, I spent 456 hours building this haunt, you know, doing something like that. And to be honest, I had actually thought about doing that this year, you know. But a couple things ran through my mind. This is hobby, this is fun, this isn't a job. If I started keeping track of how long it took, you know, how many hours it took me to put this haunt together, I'd be effectively punching a time card. That would make it to cease being fun and being a job. I just assume not do that. Plus, I don't want to scare myself that bad. I know I spend too many hours out here. Usually it's in between 10 to 14 hours a day, every day that we're building. You know, depending on what time I get up in the morning. You know, if I take a short lunch break, a long lunch break, a short dinner break, a long dinner break. For the time I get up, for the time I get out here and get going, you know, it's in between 10 to 14 hours a day, every goddamn day. And you figure last year was 37 days, and if you figure it at 10 hours a day, 370 hours is what it would have been. If it was 14 hours a day, you know, 37 days times 14, whatever that is, I'm not awake enough to do that math in my head. You know, so there you go. Anyway, with that, Kaylee and I need to get to work. I ain't gonna get shit done just sitting here on my butt, and to be honest, sitting here on my butt feels good. Well, my estimate was right. I said it was gonna be 2 to 3-ish hours, and we got it done. Fire going on in there. The lamp's going off. And that's it. Problem is, the noise from that is setting the lamp off too, and it's also daylight. It'll probably be different at night, Most of these are voice activated. Now, I have Sue. She's going to be out here in a little bit. She's going to go through, get the tables cleaned off from putting the hay in. She's got some cobwebs she wants to put on the candelabra up there, and a couple other little things she needs to do now. And then once she's done, I can seal this up and we'll be done with it, except for the lights along the fence line. I do need to come in here tonight and get those aimed and working. So we've got that. I've got that to do tonight, but that's a 10-second thing. Now we'll plug that in. We'll give you a look at the finished gypsy display once we get all the lights aimed tonight. But right now, I'm going to go in and get brunch. Part breakfast, part lunch. And I have no idea what I want for lunch today. And then when we get back out here, we're going to hop over to the graveyard. We're going to start getting the AC ran. And there's a lot of AC stuff in that display. Kind of ran you through it opening segment. But we're on to graveyard now. It's been a productive day. I still need to get in here and aim the lights on the fence. But we did get the control box working. We got the hay in. Swan's been out here and done some cobwebbing on this display. But other than aiming those lights down there, and there's a couple down there, this display is done and ready to go. Over here in the graveyard, we've made a lot of progress too. We've got all the AC ran for everything that needs AC. I've even got a cord up there on top of the mausoleum for the fogger. So it's plugged in and ready to go. I just need the fogger. In here on the tombstones, we've got two moving. I've got two more that are supposed to move, but the mechs are gone on them. So they're just going to be static. And I think next year, my main display I'm going to be working on is going to be this graveyard. I need to redo all the mechs in here. The mechs are old. I need to redo them. If I remember right, Steve Kochi, Hallstaff on YouTube. What is this? Hallstaff's Animatronic Workshop or something like that is his channel name. If I remember right, it's been a bit. He's got a video up showing different mechs that you can do for tombstones. I was thinking about going through that, making up some new mechs, and then going through and doing some new tombstones. Morgan's I'm going to keep. That's family, and I might do some other ones, family-based, in honor of friends and relatives. But in here, other than the mechs, which is AC, I've also got my 1 5-volt item lit up and wired, and I also ran an AC and 5-volt line over to the candelabra in the photo hall, since it's all plugged in and ran through this display to get there. So I got that done. Other than that, I just got done hanging all the lights. In other words, I got all the lights into their spots. They just need to be wired, and we'll do that after dinner. And actually, it's a pain in the ass trying to do it at night because it's hard to see when you're making your connections, even with flashlights and headlamps and everything else. But it's also the best time to do it because after you make your connections, you can get them aimed right away. You don't have to come back later and do it. And this display is going to take some time to get wired. There's a lot of lights. It's mainly all spots. There's a couple of floods, but it's mainly all spots. So, but it's just about ready to call dinner. So I'm going to shut it down, go in, get dinner, and then we'll get back out here and get going. And then I will give you a shot later of what we've got turned on, what we don't. And we got a Kaylee, with her mallard. She wants her dinner. She wants to help her daddy eat it. We're having quesadillas tonight. She loves quesadillas. She loves cheese. Anything with cheese she loves. She takes after Papa. Okay, just got out here after dinner. We got the lights all aimed in the gypsy. And it'll look a lot better when that door is closed. Now I do not have the lamp turned on. That's the one thing I hate about that prop, is once you turn power on to it, you have to go in, there's a lamp cord that you have to pull to turn the damn thing on. I just wish it would turn on. But that one is working. But Sue-Ann's cobwebs ended up looking really, really nice. Now, my next chore for this evening is I've got to run a couple of 12-volt lines over to that dark area in front. That's the graveyard. We got to start bringing, getting lights and stuff in. Right now, the only things that are lit up is the skull. And then I do have a light in the Monster in the Crypt. It's not running yet. And I've got a red light inside Will's crypt. There we go. That lights it up. And then we've got the flame pots in here. And Mike Allen's coffins are lit. And I got the chandelier. And you can probably see a little light leaking out of that with that panel open. It's not showing up the way it should. But that's as far as we've got earlier. All the lights are still hung. I just need to get power cords ran to them and get them all plugged in. With it being that dark, I'm going to be using a combination of my headlamp, which I'm sporting right now, being stylish, or trying to be. Every good haunter should have one of these little headlamps. Get them in a 2-pack down at Costco. And they work really, really good. I'll be using a combination of this and that clamp light to run my wiring and start getting some lights plugged in. And I better get the cord out here and get to work. Okay, it's 12 after 10 at night. I pushed it. I was trying to get the lighting done in the graveyard. Didn't make it. But I'll show you what we did get. And over here. And then we got Gargi lit. He was the very first 12-volt item that we got done in here. And the mausoleum. All the plaques are lit up. And there's Mike Allen's coffin. I think I probably ought to put a flood or something up there to highlight that coffin. I didn't even think about when I was setting my lights. And we got the Well from Hell highlighted, the Celtic Cross, and those name plaques. That's about as far as we got. Now, I still got to do, I think I still need to put a light on the Mike Allen's coffin. And we have in here to do, I have all the ground lights. There's 12 lights in there all together that need to get plugged in. And I have to do something about the Well from Hell and the crypt, and depending on what I saw on that, I've got the brain box to put in. That's going to be tomorrow. If I try to get those other 12 lights done, I'll be out here until after 11 o'clock, which will mean after 1 o'clock in the morning to get you guys this vlog edited and uploaded. I'm not staying out here that late. I'm running on adrenaline at the moment. Stay tuned for your end of the day wrap up. Okay, very late end of the day wrap up. It is now 20 minutes after 10. And I'm feeling it. I sit here for a second and it's just like, ugh. We did pretty good today. We got the gypsy done. And I made pretty good head roads on the graveyard. Got all the AC work done. Got the 5-volt lines ran. Got the 12-volt lines ran for the lighting, and we got probably about 80% of the lighting done. Didn't get it finished. I wish I would have. On the docket for tomorrow, we have a couple errands we need to do tomorrow. I've been putting off so I could work on the haunt, and we gotta get them done tomorrow. So we'll be doing that, and then afterwards, get home. We've got to get the graveyard finished. I've got all the ground lighting to do, and then the well from hell and the crypt to get motorized, which is going to mean running a separate power line for each of them. Due to the fact that they both run off windshield wiper motors. If I try plugging them into the existing 12-volt line or on the same line together, they won't run because they draw too much power. They need their own separate independent lines. And then I gotta get the brain box in, which ought to be interesting in there. It's not really all that complicated. Just the crypt and the well from hell this year to run. And we need it for sound effects too. Once the graveyard's done, we can hop over and get started on the photo hallway. And that one's mainly all lighting. I've got a bunch of pictures with RGB light strips in it, and then the other portion of it's all LED lighting. Ought to be interesting. I also got the skull candelabra display I've got to get working to get that candelabra to work. It worked when last time I had it put together. I don't see why it wouldn't work now. But you know, I doubt highly we'll get the photo hallway done tomorrow. I doubt it very highly. I know we will have the graveyard done. But anyway, I'm going to let you go, let you guys have your fun. I'm going to go edit, upload, and go to bed. Possibly not in that order. Stay spooky. Stay toxic.